There comes a point in life when our will as human beings are tested. For new UP Fighting Maroon Sam Dowd, this took place when he was homeless at the age of only 12 years old. But what was supposed to be a story about a young man destined to fail has instead turned into an inspiring tale of what can happen when life gives us a second chance. You grew up with a dad who was in and out of jail and a mom who had the gambling problem. So for you, who was still a kid who was already experiencing all of this, what was that process like? How difficult was it?
It was sad. You know, we ran into situations where we didn't have money. You know, the poverty sat in. So that was big. And just changing schools, you know, it was hard to get like a stable education when you're just moving back and forth. When you're living in poverty, like you're struggling to food and where you're gonna live, and you're always moving house to house, and you know, living from paycheck to paycheck. It was even tougher because I was basically homeless.
So there were times where you were already in and out of home. You had gone, you had left, you were told to leave. But there was this one big event where at 12 years old, you realize, okay, now I really don't have a home to go to. What was that like for you?
Lonely, for sure, lonely. Lonely and sad, nights where I cried. It was tough on my part, but coming home, you know, and realizing the door's locked, and you know, that I really didn't have like that, you know, that family structure there anymore, kind of hurt.
So let me paint a picture here. You knock on your door at home, no one answers. You call on the phone, no one answers. What's the first step that you tell yourself you have to do as a 12-year-old kid in Seattle to survive?
Feeling was like my life like spinning. I don't know if like in a panic, kind of like, what do I do? Where do I go? Who can I call? I think that's where I struggled at. You know, I had to do things that other 12-year-olds didn't have to do at that time, definitely in the States. I've heard no a lot, you know, from different people, from families, from parents, like from my friends' parents, and you know, I would hear conversations of saying like, I don't want this, you know, kid around my kid, because I feel like he's, you know, a bad influence, and they felt like I was a bad kid because like I would come to their house really late. I know there was a couple of nights that in particular that I slept outside, slept on the ground, and it was cold. I heard no like so many times, and I think that's what pushes me today, because if somebody tells me no, I'm gonna just keep going.
During this dark part of your life, what was the worst night that you could recall having?
Or after a basketball game, we won a varsity basketball game, and I went with the team to Jack in the Box. It's a fast food place. And we're sitting there, and you know, we're all excited, like we just won, and we get in the Jack in the Box, and then I realized like, I'm hungry, I have no money. And I'm too embarrassed to ask my friends because I feel like they would laugh at me. We're all sitting at the table, and everybody's like, Sam, why didn't you get nothing? And I just break down in tears, literally crying.
So you finish your 2 years at ISU and you eventually land at University of the Philippines. Take us through that process.
My cousin, Jamie Malonzo, he's actually from Seattle, Washington too. He played for De La Salle University. And you know, he told me all about the Philippines as well. And he just was like, man, just come out here and come back to your motherland, meet your family that you haven't met ever before. I feel like I belong here. It was definitely a right decision and right opportunity and timing. But the first impression I got from UP was basically family and the camaraderie around it, and just how passionate they are about taking care of their own. And you know, it was basically a perfect fit.
I noticed that you have a tattoo over there in your chest that says love. And from talking to you, I've noticed that you have a very bright demeanor. You love to smile, you like to crack jokes, you like to have fun. How do you think it's happened that, considering what you've been through, you've still become this kind of person?
The love, the smile, everything is just a part of me. I want to say people would be like, oh, do you regret what happened to you, or do you regret any decisions? No, I don't. You know, I believe every decision I make. I believe in God, you know, has a plan for me. And I wouldn't change my past for it, because I wouldn't be the person I am today. Being here in the Philippines is a culture shock for sure, because other kids that, you know, that are struggling worse than me at my age, and for me to be able to share my story, inspire them, and let them know in the States I was homeless and I got an opportunity, and I kept getting opportunities, and I just kept working my butt off. I just want to inspire others.